Good morning. This is Lakhi Singh on the drive time. We've got a bit of a lockdown situation this year, and we've also got a bit of a blackout now, so you can't really see me. And the reason being is that I'm actually have to attend to a couple of other matters while we're on air, primarily drive time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be introducing to everybody today's topic, which is why there's going to be a crash in 2021 in the property market, and basically the reasons why this will happen. So you've got a very interesting guest today, Rajesh Malhotra, who's also on now. Rajesh, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Hello,
Yes,
Rajesh. Kaise hain? Fantastic. Well, it's a very interesting topic for today. Can you hear me okay? We've got a slight
interesting topic.
Actually.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
I'm fine. So before we go on, so Rajesh, tell me, what's the weather like in your part of town? Whereabouts are you?
I'm in the not so sunny side of Sutton, in between Wimbledon and Croydon, in the deep heart of Surrey.
Wow, very posh. So does everybody speak with a
UK.
very posh accent over there? Like, good morning, Rajesh, how are you?
Good morning, Lakhi. How are you doing?
I'm very well. And how's it over there in Surrey this morning?
And it's okay. It's very mild over here. How are you doing in the is it in the square mile? Is that where you're based at the moment?
Yeah, I'm in Kensington at the moment. But yeah, the weather's a tiny bit rainy.
Kensington, yes, yeah.
Tiny bit drizzly. But it's all happening over here anyway.
Yeah.
So it's your chance to shine today, because you're our main guest that was going to cheer today couldn't make it, but we've got Rajesh Malhotra, the man with many talents, on today to give us his knowledge around property, etc., etc. So before we go, and we got a big shout out to a few people. Got Meena Kapoor, Berhan Noor, Adnan Pasha. Got I think regular viewers of Mandy Sandhu, Sonia Lambert. Quite a few others. I'm sure we're getting a lot of shout outs. So anyway, all of you, hope you're having a great morning.
Thank you to everyone who's tuning in, and shout out to everyone.
Yeah, today I have to do my VJ Sal thing, and it's a slightly different communication. I normally like to be in the back seat, just let VJ Sal take control of the show. But nevertheless, Lakhi Singh, the fixer, is here to fix things, because VJ Sal's the helicopter's stranded because one of the blades is rotating the wrong way around. So I think he's having to get out and fix it. So that should be quite interesting. We may be able to get him come back on. It'll be quite interesting.
Okay, I take it the pilot's day off, is it?
Yeah, probably. I think VJ Sal
it's all good. It's all good.
Left to fly on his own, I think. Okay, so Rajesh, tell me a little bit. How's your week been, and the thrust of work, business, everything good? What's new with you?
Basically, I've been doing watching your drive time, 8 a.m. the property fixer, learning a lot, watching them every day. That's what I've been doing, and learning myself and researching about what's happening.
Fantastic. Okay, so you're probably the
challenging times, economic times. Just to see what's happening with property business in general.
I mean, are you finding that many people are affected by in terms of mental health with this pandemic? Or I think that's going to be the major issue, people being locked up.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely.
I'm already talking to people that ring through during the day about becoming an associate of the company or looking for a job. But there seem to be a lot of demoralized people out there. It's like they've got a psychological battle against their sorry, they've got a psychological battle with the pandemic as well as their situation, because they've got a, they can't find a job. And I mean, we've advertised for a couple of jobs and we've had something like unprecedented. I think we had about 100 CVs for just over in about 3 or 4 hours.
Wow.
So that's why, in fact, I'm probably just literally being pinged one now. So I think there's very few companies that are growing. I mean, I'm working with a few fast growth sort of companies which are recruiting about 20, 30 staff. We're also recruiting and growing. So I think we're probably about one of the only companies that's still growing in a pandemic, because the nature of the work we do is we solve problems for people with properties, businesses, or trying to find a new income. So it's been like super crazy busy. So let's go to the main topic. Let's just say what the top 5 reasons the property market's going to crash in 21. What's your take on it, Raj, before I give you my opinion, considering I'm going to be host and sort of interviewee, part interview today. So what's your thoughts? And it'd be interesting to get your take.
Okay. Well, I actually think that although ironically the property market pandemic, I actually think because one of the reasons is interest rates are low, it's easy access to mortgages. I mean, it's been the highest things on mortgages, but also that the stamp duty holiday, they're looking to extend it. Finance is easy, interest rates are low, and also the holiday of the stamp duty, but it won't last forever. It will come to an end. It will affect the property market, and we're not even on the topic of Brexit. So there are a lot of factors that are going to make the property market, I wouldn't say there'll be a crash as such. It will be, for want of a better word, subdued. There will be a correction in the market, I'm sure, because I've been doing a lot of research myself, talking to people like yourself who are property market, but also brushing up on my own knowledge. And the conclusion I come up with is that London has always been quite pricey, but once the other areas of the UK start coming down, I think it'll slowly seep into London as well. It could happen in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, or 12 months' time. And like I said, Brexit hasn't even been, it's just a footnote at the moment because of this terrible pandemic. And unfortunately, their jobs, I mean, just recently, ASOS bore out the brands of the Arcadia group. But unfortunately, for all the people that were working, they've lost their jobs. And I feel very sad, and I sympathise for them, because I still think there should be a high street. I don't think that if people haven't got jobs, how are they going to pay the mortgages as well? Very scary times indeed. Really scary.
Okay, what I'm going to do is you brought out a lot of questions there regarding different things which will affect a potential crash in 21. So let's quickly break them down and probably dissect some of the points you made. So let's try and keep it to about 5 key points, and I think we can always do the additions afterwards. So one fundamental point is interest rates.
Yeah, sure.
Second fundamental point is Brexit and its implications. Third fundamental point is the spillover from the pandemic. Fourth fundamental point, is that there's 800 billion of funds that have been invested into dealing with the, you could say, the aftermath or the pandemic, which is sort of links to that point anyway.
Yes.
And then the fifth one is, I would say, a global meltdown because no economy is actually working at its optimum because of the nature of the pandemic. And there's a sixth point, which is that the additional strain that could be coming from COVID-19 could be a lot more lethal. And if that does occur,
definitely,
it's better to actually work on the basis that if somebody's trying to run a business, that you've got to be thinking out of the box and looking at all the various angles in terms of what could happen in the worst case scenario, than to assume the best. So if you're trying to run a business out there, you're trying to think, okay, well, I've got nothing to worry about, vaccines coming in, I'm going to be all right. You can't really be thinking like that or waiting for things to happen. So I was talking to somebody yesterday who's involved in the fitness industry, and I just said to him, look, they said they can't really go and meet people or do their normal fitness classes. I said, you've got to start thinking outside the box and just imagine that nothing's going to come back to normal for 3 years. Then if that's the case, then you need to be looking at another way of running your business or thinking around it. But if you don't think quickly enough, you're going to find that you're going to be out of money within 2-3 months.
Yeah.
So do you want to?
No, exactly. These are. I was just saying, I echo your sentiments exactly, especially with the last topic that you talked to about the fitness. Have to look outside the box and find ways of, keeping their client, and also because cash flow is very vital in a business. You could be a profitable business, but if you don't have cash flow, you'll find that it leads to a slow or gradual lead to. So I agree with you totally on these points.
So to dissect those points further, I mean, the property market is held up by a lot of. I think the other point you raised was around stamp duty. I think Rishi Sunak has confirmed, I think about a couple of weeks ago, from what I hear, is that he's definitely not going to bring back stamp duty cut. So that's actually, he's announced that the stamp duty cut won't remain, basically. Okay, so I think
yes,
that's 100% clear indication that you can't trust the property market to be propped up any longer. So that's actually probably a fundamental one, because it's been propped up temporarily by that.
Yeah.
Second thing is that a lot of people got bounced back, so there's lots of money flooded into the country. A lot of those, it's been about a year, so a lot of that's probably been spent and put into the economy to give it an artificial bounce, hence the bounce back, So that's the second reason you can sort of say. And I think third reason is that third reason I'm thinking is that there are going to be a lot of glitches in terms of getting businesses back up and running in the same way as they were before in terms of trade. So you're going to get a lot less money coming into the country, and it's going to take time for businesses to create that route again. But their costs of being in certain markets in Europe now is going to be a lot higher. They're going to have to pay certain tax and customs excise type fees that they weren't paying before because of sort of say easy access through borders. So you may there's going to be an impact from that in terms of circulation of money. So the list goes on. I think we've got about 10 really things that are going on. which means not only are we going to have a property crash, there could be, I think there's a gentleman on Question Time that came on. He said that this is going to be the worst. This is actually, we're in a depression. He said this is the biggest crash in 300 years in the UK. He said we're in a mass depression.
Yeah.
I think I might have sent you that clip. I'm not sure if I did.
Yeah.
What's your take on it? Do you think we're in depression, Raj?
Might have called you.
Sorry?
Well, I don't know if your viewers know this, but a recession is when they have two sharp minus negative circumstances. So I actually on Question Time that we probably are in a depression, and we don't know how it lasts. It might last 3 years, like you said. It might last 5 years, and we haven't even discussed, like you said, with the Brexit. I don't know if you know that trucks and lorries are already getting stuck trying to come into the UK through the borders. It's causing a lot of problem. We've got the COVID-19 coronavirus. We've got redundancies. High Street is changing the landscape, not just online, but because of the corona aspect of Brexit. Someone sent me something on LinkedIn about how much debt that Britain owes at the moment, and I think it's almost key. So we own more as a country, as a nation, than our gross domestic product, which is very, very concerning. This is another reason why the government keeps borrowing, so to do what's called quantitative easing. But I don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to take time for it to seep into the economy. So we're what's called, I would say, a point about the property market. The property market is dependent on a lot of conditions. So if there's good or high unemployment, that means landlords let property portfolios can find tenancy. But with people working from home and not knowing when they'll go back, and the government will like flip-flopping on, then we're easing restrictions, then we're going back on lockdown. There doesn't seem to be any consistent consensus. And there are a lot of people out there who also, should I go out? Should I not go out? They're very confused, and obviously this affects their mental health. A lot of kids at home, because sometimes the schools are open, sometimes they're not open, confined living space. It causes issues and problems. The other thing is the terrible tragedy that the COVID has played out. I was watching a program last night about the lives lost, and it was like really emotional. And I'm not saying anyone's to blame, but I think if the government got a handle on this last year, Germany and other countries took this very seriously, instead of focusing on Brexit was going to happen anyway. But Brexit doesn't mean that you're losing your lives. And now the government are in a bit of a quandary. It's still, if you go out in your local high street, there are people there. It's like ghost towns, and this is why the rise of online is getting more and more. But if high streets disappear, and I know I'm labouring my point a bit, streets disappear, it usually means an increase in crime and unemployment, because the high street is not just a place where you go shopping. It's a sort of community. You go to with the pandemic at the moment, that's been severely restricted. So people are using online things like StreamYard and Zoom, and this will affect the property market. That buy property and wait, but I would actually wait until the property.
So I think
the property market sort of stabilized.
Okay, well, I think we realize that there's going to be a dip or a crash, but I think a crash is definitely looming. Question is going to be how much of a percentage fall will be there in property in the next 2 or 3 years. What's your take on it?
Hard to say, unless you've got a sort of crystal ball, but I got a feeling it's a minimum is going to be 10%, but it could go up to about 30%.
Based upon the things we've discussed, interest rate hikes, Brexit, unemployment, potential overspill of pandemic continuing.
Yeah, it's a perfect.
As well as sort of more money being pumped into the economy and the government not having any additional resources. I mean, what's your gut feel of what the percentage fall could be? And I think this could be I think we could even see about 40 or 50% fall in property prices. Yeah.
You could well be right. I could go higher. You could see what I would say a total reset in the market. Going back to almost like an analogy. I'm going to the Iron Age, but it could be a total reset in the property market. And 50% would be a reasonable crash in the market, because we've got, that you pointed out, perfect storm. You've got high unemployment, high redundancies. The furlough scheme's coming to an end soon. We don't know if the Chancellor's going to extend it. And then if the companies can't keep staff redundant, so that's more spillover into the market, which affects more people and their mental health. So, it's almost like very concerning to me personally to see what's happening, and I know eventually we'll come through it.
So do you think
there's going to before?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, there's definitely a lot going on in terms of which way the market could go. I think we've covered pretty much the topic around the crash. The question is going to be how should people be managing themselves to cover the worst case scenario? Because if everything goes well and nothing goes bad, then I mean, there's still a lot to do, because you still need to find a job if you lost your job. Property market, there's still I think there's a backlog of about 100,000 court cases where tenants haven't paid their landlord, and they can get away with it because the way the government structured it, it's the landlord that suffers. So that's going to take about a year for somebody to go to court and try to get their money back. So I think we as an organization are going to have to scale up about maybe 1,000-fold, because you can have nearly any, at least one out of every 5, or 2 to 3 out of every 5 landlords out there who are going to be caught up in this tangled web of the overspill of you could call it the pandemic and Brexit and a global sort of meltdown. So that is going to be, I think they're going to need help to try and deal with the bank, trying to deal with it's a very unreal sort of weird sort of situation. I'm just trying to work out really how anybody's going to be able to get out of this. Any ideas about being proactive or what people should be doing, Raj? What's your thoughts?
Well, the first thing is obviously take care of your health. Your health is the most important thing. Look after, your mental health as well. I use is what's called a journal. So if you're feeling down, the other thing is try to connect with people. Talk to people.
I think it's quite tough for some people.
Face to face, which is really sad. Yeah. Especially when you're a landlord. entrepreneur, you don't really want to ask for help. But in these unprecedented times, reaching out and asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. And landlords as well, they must be going through, they've got no one to turn to. They're like, well, this is a situation, we've had recessions before, but this situation, we've never experienced this. In this case, reach out. If you're a landlord that's looking to restructure their portfolio, reach out to Lakhi Singh and his team. If you're through no fault of your own, if you lost your job, reach out. You know, that's what I would suggest. For people who are looking for work, what I found also helpful is if you were working in retail, you definitely got transferable skills. Now, you've probably heard that looking for a job is a job in itself. So what you need to do is sort of schedule. But think about this: the more you do it, the better you get. Get your CV done, get your covering letter done, even connect with people media on LinkedIn. Say, I remember there was this one guy, he really thought outside the box. What happened, he was looking for a job. He applied for so many jobs, didn't get anything. One day, he stood out on the road with a sign saying, looking for work, please call this number. Now, I think that's really creative. Now, I'm not saying everyone can do that at the moment, but coming back to your point about landlord, definitely reach out, you know, because like you said, there's over 100,000, probably more cases that have been backlogged, and that is going to take slowly to get through. We don't know how long this pandemic is going to last. You know, it is actually frightening to a certain extent. I was talking to friends and family that I've never seen them so ill, and I said, look, forget about everything else. You concentrate on your health.
The viewers now a little bit about the sort of things we're doing as a company to help the problem. Yes. You could actually say, you know, me, my team are Mystic Megs, or you could call us good at planning, or it's luck. But we've been saying for about the last 10 years to people in property and business that there's going to be a massive correction. And haven't really been the flavor of the month when I go to events and things, and when I have a one-to-one chat, people that are trying to sell the sort of the rah-rah, saying, you know, this is going to happen. You know, it's amazing economy, things are going to go really well. So haven't really been the flavor of the month. But now, I think we were skiing uphill at the time, but now we're sort of skiing downhill somewhat, because all the solutions that have been put out there are all related to helping people out of complex situations. So I'm going to quickly shoot through 5 or 10 things that we're doing off the top of my head, which I think could be really helpful for a lot of people out there. Number one, most important one, is that number one is that we've got an income opportunity which allows people to basically create a new income. But we normally charge £2,000, but we're discounting it for basic membership to £0 for the duration of the pandemic. But the pandemic seems to be going on and on and on.
I know.
We just thought it would be like for a couple of months, but we decided to extend it. So that's quite a prominent thing. So, you know, definitely become an associate. So I think if you're looking for something as well, Raj, I think I suggest you join the Rescue Associate registration on rescuemyproperties.co.uk. So that's number one solution. And why would people want to do that? Sorry?
I'm already a member, so I'm already a member. So I suggest that everyone, after watching this, go to his website and join if you're looking for an income opportunity, because you can do it from home. All you need is a laptop, internet connection, you're to go, and it will also, I think, give people something to look forward to as well, because we've got a lot of time on our hands at the moment.
Okay, so
so I highly
focusing
recommend it. I've been on the website. I've looked at the videos.
Okay, and just to give us a flavour, what type of people do you think the RSE model will can help you? Do you think?
Well, I actually think it isn't. If you've got transferable skills, and everyone has, you're good at communicating. Build a product or a service to a customer. You're quite, reliable. All these factors and skills that you can transfer employment. Now, let's just say someone is. Let's just say an example. Someone's a mechanic, all right, car mechanic, and with the pandemic, they've seen that they're to want to have their cars fixed or has gone right down. Maybe they had staff they had to lay off, sadly. This opportunity will allow done as a mechanic to transfer into the Rescue My Properties opportunity. If you've been in sales previously, like I have, use those sales skills to develop into this Rescue My Properties opportunity. So I don't really think it's industry or skill specific.
Okay.
I desire
I think they're very good
to join and build a team. Yeah, I think it's basically for anyone who's looking for work to lead to, because what will happen is you'll develop skills that you may have had or lying dormant, right? And they may come out to the fore. And then what happens is you find other opportunities. You see, I always say one of my favorite motivational speakers was Zig Ziglar, late Zig Ziglar, and he used to say that it's not the actual opportunity, the person to the opportunity. And if people haven't heard of him, he was like Brian Tracy and all the other American motivational speakers. A lot of them started their careers in sales. I was, until I was made unemployed, you can learn a lot of skills. So the other thing is that you don't have to be aggressive or a hard-nosed salesperson. This is more about helping people. So it's like, for example, negative equity, because like the mortgage payments have gone up, or a landlord who's like, oh God, this is really headache, like 10 properties, 20 properties, tenants, because they've lost their jobs, not their fault, they can't pay the tenants, so I'm forking out money from my own savings. It's getting to me, I'm getting stressed, it's affecting my family. People are looking for solutions. You've actually got it's an excellent time for this. Even full-time, so you could do it part-time while you work around your other commitments, or you could do this full-time. But I highly recommend
okay, what we'll do is just to give you
have a look at the videos.
Yep. Okay, you're sort of cutting in and out a tiny bit from time to time, but basically.
But like negative equity.
Experience, right? Yeah. So I think so. Based upon your experience, just to tell the viewers, how would people make money from that, and what's the process?
The process is obviously you find client, and you could either do this, through your group or network, or you could go on social media, maybe LinkedIn, find out those people, maybe just connect with what I do. I'll just give an example of what I do when I'm connecting with people on LinkedIn. Someone will want to, I like someone's profile. I'll say, hi, I invite you to join my professional network on LinkedIn. Quite like your profile. And then I'd start a conversation, just say, understand you're into property. Just tell me a little bit about a landlord, or I'm also on the, oh, great, yeah, great, oh, great. Are you looking to restructure your, it just has to be more like a conversation, you know. You do, and I'm sure Lakhi does, is someone briefly looks at your profile, sends you a quick message, and they're trying to sell you whatever project and service they have. No, that's not the right way you are. They've got to, especially now, whereas with before, and I digress, that you were meeting people and you've got the body language and the eye contact. On social media, you know, they got to know you as a person, and you got to realize that the other person that you're talking to, if you mind the pun, is also a person. You know, it's not just a prospect. So if and just build up a conversation, and then just say, well, I understand what you're telling me. I understand from this conversation. This is
okay. I mean,
would you be interested in that? They may say yes, they may say no.
There's quite a lot of information there. So I think basically, if you wanted to become an RSC associate, you can join www.rescuemyproperties.co.uk. It's absolutely free during the COVID-19 pandemic, because we're encouraging people to find another way of getting another income. So the main 4 or 5 things that Raj is saying is that just have to build up your network and talk to people and see what help they need. It doesn't matter what it is. They may need some finance. They may have a legal issue with the landlord, or them, you know, as a tenant, landlord may have an issue with the tenant. They may be, they're short of money and they need finance. They've got a negative equity issue, and the bank may be foreclosing if they don't deal with it properly. It could be just that somebody wants to look for a new income, so you could be also introducing them. And if somebody does take on the gold package, you would also get the commission on that from you. The gold package is normally 10,000, but we reduce it for the duration of the pandemic down to £7,000, I believe. And the silver package, which is normally 8,000, reduced it down to 5,000. So there's a lot going on with the RAC model. So that's number one thing that we're doing as a company to assist in this very weird sort of movie that's going on. The real movie is actually worse than any sort of horror sci-fi that you normally watch. We may be taken over by aliens, I think. Watch out, aliens about. Okay, so that's number one, the rescue associate model. I think it's there to support you. DM us if you want to become a member, you want the links. I'll be sure to reply back and give everybody information. Contact Raj if you want. Raj is probably quite a good guy to try and support you through the experience. He's got plenty of time in his hands. I'm sure he'll want to support you in the process. Okay, number two is that
I'd be happy to.
We've also set up a Proptech company now, which is there to help people who've got.
Very interesting.
We'll be launching it in the next few weeks, probably by the end of March. These sort of things take longer than you always anticipate, but we've been working on it for over a year now. And it's going to be a combination of TripAdvisor, a bit like TripAdvisor, and also it'll be regional, as well as there'll be a different fee structure. So if you're selling a property, we'll be selling it at 0% commission. And what happens if you want to sell it quickly, then we'll be charging 1%. But the way we will be making our money is that we'll be charging the buyer's fee for 2%. So it'll be a model. It's a model that's actually based upon current market circumstances. So, and that will be an online model as well. So, but we'll be able to do the whole lot online. So it'll be competing against the likes of those 2-3 other companies. I can't remember what they're called now. One begins with an R. I did this joke yesterday as well. Another one's with Z, I think. And there's another one that begins with a P, purple something. But we're going to be called Laurel.
Yeah.
Laurel
the name
Properties.
come to mind.
Sorry? Yeah, they don't come to mind actually. Yeah. So basically,
Rural properties.
so our model is going to be based upon.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, I'll come back to me sometime. So a good one, Raj. So basically, we're going to be literally using social media as a way of actually getting access to people that want help in their property endeavors, whether they want to buy, they want to sell. So that's quite an exciting prospect. And the reason I think that's going to help a lot of people is that it's going to be make it a lot easier to deal with their why. So if their why is that at the moment nobody's really looking at why you might want something and giving them what they want. They're looking at it very much from a postcode point of view. It's very much focused, concentric around a postcode or a road. But ours is going to be looking at, when you look at the 4 or 5 ratings like on TripAdvisor, you like, where are the best schools and amenities? Is it near a high street? From a development point of view, what's the likely yield I'm going to get from this property? Is it a high yielding area for investment? So a lot of these things are going to be like a set benchmark. So you're just going to make it a lot easier for a property investor to know straight away whether this is a potential deal or not. So they can actually compare all the ratings about the property, a bit like you do in TripAdvisor. So it's something completely different. And it's actually using social media, which is, we couldn't have really planned it any better in a weird way, because everybody's now on social media, got plenty of time in their hands, and everything's moving towards digital. So, and our model is actually not constrained by high costs of SEO like Rightmove charge 2,000 to 3,002 agents, and Zoopla charge as well. And Purple Bricks have got more of a dynamic model, but all these models are based upon traditional markets, not in a crash. So I could actually be one of the biggest or busiest online agents in the UK. Lakhi Singh, the fixer. Okay, so that's number 2 product.
Hoover, the Groover.
Sorry, the Groover, Hoover, Prover, Louver.
The Mover, yeah.
So, yeah, what's your thoughts about the online market? Do you know much about the property market online? Considering I think you were an estate agent, how did you find companies like Rightmove? Do you think something like this? Because I don't want to be presumptuous that it's going to be really big. But what do you make of using social media, TripAdvisor, and actually a zero cost sort of model to capture a market that nobody's thought about, using this sort of angle?
Well, good that you're going into property tech and looking to disrupt the market, because the models that are coming in, like you said, with the likes of the big beast, which is Rightmove, you have a duopoly. You've also got onthemarket.com, and then I was reading the other day that another estate agency is looking to set up their own online model. When I when I was an estate agent, we had a lot of people come in that were using online ones like Purple Bricks being the main one, and they were saying that the Purple Bricks take money from you from the beginning. They charge you, so they get the money whether the property gets sold or not. And I've got to be careful here that it's not really fair for the buyer or the seller in that case. So what you're liberal is you're turning it a little bit over, because what happens is when the estate agent sells the property, obviously they get their commission or the seller, whereas you're saying that you're going to be charging low commission, but you're going to be charging a buyer's fee. It's funny you should say that. The government was looking to do something like this to the vendors, but then obviously with the revolving door with the housing secretaries that keep coming and going all the time, they obviously put that on the back burner. But yeah, the issue with the big ones like Rightmove and Zoopla is they estate agents don't feel that they've got another choice. I mean, on the market has, but it's ripe for disruption. I don't think there's a proper way of disrupting the property market, rather like Airbnb did bed and breakfasts and Uber's done with the mini cabs. So you guys could be the Uber, Airbnb of the property market. So the online model is we're all home at the moment. We don't know how long this pandemic is going to carry on and continue. So an online model would be probably, in fact, there's a very famous saying by Benjamin Disraeli: "No one can stop an idea whose time has come." So it could be this idea to launch.
That's a very good quote. I like
probably put you. It would put you. I'd say you'd be maybe in pole position because people are looking. They're looking to sell, they're looking to rent. I mean, that won't stop because people need places to live. So I definitely would be very interested in that property technology.
Okay, perfect.
Company that wouldn't want you. There's definitely a market in it. There's another.
Okay, so I think that's the second thing that we're working on. That's I think again poised towards helping people and also creating a model that's going to make things easier for people. And because everything's online, and it's gonna be all. What we're going to be doing is we've got 9 groups now, and we're hiring staff to actually manage the 9 groups across the country. So I've already got a couple of full-time people now helping me. I mean, even this group that we've grown now is going to hit 2,000 in the next few days. I think we only started the group a few months back. I think at least 4 or 5 months back, and it's sort of grown from strength to strength.
Phenomenal growth, but
so I think it's going to get quite interesting in terms of the Proptech play out there anyway. So I've got a lot of work to do in terms of getting those decks ready. So because we're going to be looking to raise about we've already raised about $1 million into the company. We're looking to raise about another 2 million into the company. So anybody who's interested in investing into the project, just interested, even if you want to invest a few thousand, we may consider really getting more like a crowdfund doing it.
Okay.
So minimum.
I think a crowdfund would be the way to go.
Yeah, so I think the crowdfund we may consider. So at the moment, I think we're just looking at all the options and putting all the decks together. So I've got a really busy week cut out to do all of that. So number 2 is Proptech and making it better solution in a very difficult and complex market full of flux. So that's number 2. Number 3, we also, not everybody is aware, we also run a company called Immediate Bank Claims, and that company stops repossession in 24 hours anywhere in the country, literally. And in this market, I can see a lot of people having problems because they may not be able to pay their bills, their mortgages, and if you're a business person, you may not be able to afford your premises. If you're a property landlord, if you've got tenants that haven't paid you, and you've also lost your own job, and if interest rates also go up, it's going to be the perfect storm in terms of putting you in a very difficult situation. So having 24 hours, sort of 24-hour service to help people Now you know probably, Raj, why we called ourselves the Rescue Associates, because the RAC, because it's all about helping
Rescue my
people.
property. Yeah.
Well, the RAC model. And so basically, immediate banks claims can actually help you stop repossession for your business, for your properties, for your personal property. So that's number 3. There's quite a lot going on with that. I'm going to try and cover off all the others. I think we only got a couple of minutes. We did start a bit late, but we'll do another extra 5 minutes. I'm actually today I've had to drive in because I've had to come out of Kensington, and now I am in sunny Southall at my parents' actually outside, because I have to take my one of my family members to a very important appointment with the doctors. So nothing too serious, nothing COVID-19 related, but I think I have to do that really, because it's very important. That's why, fortunately, I had to drive in today and do the show. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. Okay, number 3. Proptech. So RAC, Proptech, Laurel Properties. Number 3 is immediate bank claims, helping people stop repossession. Then thirdly, we also run a program under Rescue My Properties, which is called the DP3 program, which stands for Detox Property Portfolio Program. Now, a lot of people may not be aware of this, but if they've got 10, 15 properties and
I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah, if they've got 10, 15 properties and they're getting into negative equity, or they've got some sort of HMRC tax issue or whatever, we're specialists in portfolio restructuring. So what we can do is we can go in, help you to refinance it, help you to sell it, and if there's negative equity problems, we've got the ability to get the negative equity actually written off altogether, so there isn't any debt on your properties anymore, and actually give you a clean credit report. So that is phenomenal, and we've been working on that for the last 15 years or so, deploying that solution, and that solution has come together about a year ago. And then now,
that's awesome.
I think what's going to happen is that if prices do crash, as it looks like it may happen, that solution actually could be the one that's going to be a sort of lifesaver for potentially hundreds of thousands of landlords, especially in places like South Wales, where already they're up, they've got so much regs in place that it's almost a prison sentence actually to have properties now, because you have to follow so much regs that a lot of the properties that people have aren't necessarily it's not going to be possible to be running those property portfolios effectively as a business. It's more cost and red tape than there is to time to be able to dealing with that and the cost of it. So that's number 4 in terms of what we do, the DP3 program. Were you aware of the DP3 program, Raj?
Well, I think I was aware that you did restructuring of landlords. I didn't know what the top property program. I think that it's definitely a market for that. Like you said, there's a lot of legislation.
Well, I think you probably.
I don't know if people know this with the MIRAS, where you could use expenses.
I'm saying you're probably the most
charging
I'm just saying you're probably one of the most informed people now about what we do. Yeah, well, what we do as a company.
Yeah. No, I just didn't know what the program was for, but I know that you were.
Okay. All right. Number 5.
Get in touch with Lakhi. Don't suffer in silence.
Okay. Number 5 is that we also have access to a lot of private lenders that are unregulated, so we can help out in special situations. If you're losing a house, you're losing your properties, you're losing your business, you're in dispute with the HMRC, you've got some sort of probate issue, could be a divorce matter even. But we've got the expertise actually to deal with any sort of complex situation in terms of finance raising as well. So we do bridging finance, first charge, second charge. We can help raise business loans, even got access to personal loan providers. So there's no, I mean, if you look at those 5 areas of business, so that area of the business is called management consultants for you. And that specializes in helping people deal with more the consultancy side. It could even be developing a business plan to grow your business. It could be looking at a strategy to use your pension funds to invest into property. It could be even far as helping you to raise equity for a startup, for a fintech project or a Proptech project. So that's our advisory side of the business, which is very much about business planning, tax solutions, trust structures, these type of things. So what can I say? We've developed all these products and solutions in anticipation of helping people in this market.
One-stop shop.
Yeah, and the reality of it, the honest truth of it, Raj, is that those business service lines haven't been very busy. We've had them set up for years and years, and we've just been doing the battle practice and learning really all the idiosyncrasies of that particular area of business. Now, that's taken a lot of hard work. I mean, that's why you got a bit of white there. I've been told I need to color it in. Actually, you might see a different color tomorrow. So basically, all of that.
It makes you look distinguished.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying, like, you're doing the heavy lifting, yeah?
What happened there? I don't know. Okay, so some music came on. I think my dad's ringing me because I've got to go and take my mum to an appointment. But it's quite far away, so it's difficult for him to drive. So fortunately, even with lockdown, got to do certain things, get things done out of the way. So I think any last minute, Raj, any points you want to make?
All I would like to say, firstly, thank you, Lakhi, for bringing me on again. Secondly, I would say, yeah, if you are out there, you're a landlord, or you're looking for funding, or you're even looking for an income opportunity, go to the Rescue My Rescue Associates consulting model, and you're on your way. You know, it's free to join. What have you got? You've got nothing to lose. You've got everything to gain. And I'll leave this last point that Ameo Angela that say people don't know how much you know, don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So if you, and I know that Lakhi is not just a successful business, he cares. I've known him for a long time. He genuinely cares. He wants to help people. So get in touch. Don't suffer in silence. If you want to talk to me, you're welcome to. I'm on Facebook, you know, and yeah, we can have a chat. So with that, I will let you go. Sending everyone love hearts. Please take care of your health. Keep safe and sound.
Okay, thank you, Raj. Appreciate you coming on the show.
And we'll see you on the next drive time.
Thank you, Raj.
I'm very humbled and very honored to be on this show.
Okay, thank you, Raj, for coming on.
Make sure you
appreciate you coming on.
You get your mother to be up.
Quick shout out to all the viewers. I think because we've had a bit of a technical glitch with the helicopter today, VJSL couldn't make it, but he sends his love from VJSL. And wanted to say to all of you, like Raj says, actually, just
be back tomorrow.
We're here to help. Lakhi Singh, the property fixer. If you're looking for solutions, you're involved in property business, looking for a new income, contact us. I mean, it doesn't really matter what situation you're in. If I'm very well connected in the heart of the city, if I can help you to find a job in your area, might be able to, give you a recommendation or put you in touch with somebody. I'm always happy to help. It's an open door. So with that, I leave you, love you and leave you. You have a wonderful day, and hope today, Tuesday, is one of the best days, and you have everything that you want to achieve today come true. And if you're feeling that it's not, then talk to us. We'll make it happen. Or we'll try our best anyway.
That's great.